Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 22 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. So, do you want to know one of the most important keys to financial success? It's patience. But hey, check this out. In today's society, we don't promote patience, and that's why most people, including all three of us, have stunk at it. And today we are going to be sharing why patience has been so hard as it relates to money, and we're also going to give you some tips on how to get crazy good at it over time. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's show. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad, and we are super excited to have you. Hey, guys, check this out. We just recently celebrated, and by the time this episode airs, we're going to have over 5,000 downloads of our podcast. That's pretty sweet.
That's fantastic.
Woo. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's awesome.
We've been getting a lot of great listeners and lots of great feedback, and a lot of people are jumping on and really starting to talk about a lot of the topics that we're talking about in our Facebook group. So as we mentioned, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. So make sure you search out for us. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad, and we would love to connect with you on one of those social networks. So guys, check this out. We spend a lot of time talking about a lot of different topics as it relates to money. So, you know, your typical topics like saving and budgeting and paying off debt to reach financial freedom. And financial education and skills are absolutely critical to your overall success. But there's something that is just as important to your overall financial success, and that is this word that nobody likes to use, and it's patience. And there's a lot of reasons why we need to be patient with money. But we're also going to be talking about today about a lot of reasons why we're not patient and why it's easy not to be patient. So, guys, you guys have been on both sides of the fence when it comes to, you know, reaching financial freedom and also living paycheck to paycheck. So how have you guys been with patience, and how does that transform over time, do you think?
Oh gosh, I don't think I know I've changed, but patience has been really tough for us because we always want something right now. I want, a new TV. Oh, my friend just got a new car. I got to go get a new car. I need that right now. So patience has been tough for us.
I have patience in some areas. Financially, when we were paycheck to paycheck, we wanted it, we bought it, and we didn't really think twice about it until we got the bill, and then we would be mad, and then we'd grow more impatient because then it's like, well, now we got to pay this off before I can buy the next thing. Well, then it's like, I'm not going to worry about it. I just go buy the next thing because I don't want to wait that long. I think on the other side now, you know, we've grown extremely patient. I'm still impatient, like in the fact that I still want things, but I have the ability now to take a step back and not act on those impulses that I had.
Right. Delay pleasure a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say, I should never use the word easy with delay pleasure, but you get what I mean. But so let's talk real quick on, you know, people might say, well, man, I mean, I get patience obviously when it comes to saving and stuff, but how much does this really play a part in your finances? And if you really think about it, it plays a huge role. You know, on this show, we talk a lot about habits. We talk a lot about behavior, and that's what you really need to focus on and really work on if you really want to move the needle with your finances. So when it comes to changing bad habits and behavior, it takes time. Like there's that old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can. It just takes a lot of time and patience in trying some new things. You got to make patience or have patience when you make purchases with cash. You know, Ryan just talked about this, and you know, when you're living paycheck to paycheck, or if you do what society teaches us to do, they teach us not to be patient because you can just go get payments. So we're going to be talking about that here in just a little bit. There's patience in learning how to budget. In fact, I just got a slew of emails from my Roots members who are in our spring session that just got started about 4 weeks ago, and a lot of them are going through our budgeting module that's included in our membership. And a lot of them are saying, Brad, this is hard. Like, this is going to take some time. And you're darn right it's going to take some time. It takes patience to learn how to budget the right way and to get it right. It just does not happen overnight. It's kind of like riding a bike and having those training wheels at first. Obviously, we talked about patience and saving money, whether it's for a purchase, whether it's for retirement, your kid's college, going on a dream vacation, a car, a down payment on a house. I mean, whatever it might be, you're going to have some patience to save up for some of those things. Patience to, build the life that you want. It's amazing. And me and my wife were actually just talking about this the other day. And it was amazing that in my early 20s, when I became an official adult, I had my first kind of adult job. It was amazing how quickly I tried to match my parents' material possessions right out of, out of college, essentially. And I did. I had, by the time I was 30, had just as nice of cars, had just as nice of stuff, had just as nice a house. But what they had, what took them years to accumulate, I was able to accumulate it very quickly because guess what? I just had a bunch of payments and debt to obtain those possessions. I had no patience, but I had a pile of debt and financial stress. So it's going to take time to build the life that you want and get to where you want to go. So you got to have patience with that. You have to have patience to pay off debt. I've told this show many times, it took me about 4 or 5 years to get off debt. Ryan, you mentioned, well, how many years did it take you guys to actually pay off all the debt and get to where you are right now as we're recording this?
8 years total.
8 years. That's a long time. You've got to have patience and you have debt. A lot of people just, they think, I want to get out of debt and it should just happen right now because I want it right now. But it just doesn't work that way. You didn't get to where you are overnight, and it's going to take you longer than overnight to get out. And then lastly, you've got to have patience. If you truly want to reach financial freedom and debt freedom, get to a point where money isn't such a sore subject in your life. And man, you got to have patience to reach it. So let's talk about why it's so hard to be patient with money. And what I think it really kind of comes down to is just how the world operates. I think the way products are sold, the way products are marketed, the way we buy things, the way we live our lives, everything has become immediate. If you want to watch a movie, when I was a kid, you had to go to the movie rental store and buy and rent the movie or wait for it to come on like HBO at some time, right? If you had HBO when you were a kid. I remember that though. But nowadays, if you want to watch a movie, literally it's with a few clicks of a button and you can have immediate access to any movie, any music that you want. I mean, that's just one example. There's examples of, hey, you can change your life in 30 days. You can lose massive amounts of weight with this magic pill, and you can do it in the next 30 to 60 or 90 days and get the body that you want. And so these are just a couple of examples, guys, but I think what it comes down to is really just marketing. And if you think about that, how our brains operate nowadays, it's really hard to change your mindset and use a completely different system to manage your money because we want everything just to happen right now. And financial success just doesn't work that way in a lot of cases.
I think we've all been, even over the last 10 or 15 years, our brains have just been trained to expect everything instantly. My kids, they don't have any sense of patience when it comes, like you just mentioned, the video store. It was one thing to have to go to the video store. It was another thing when the movie you wanted wasn't in, so you had to wait. And you would, if it was a popular movie, you might go day after day and it's just always checked out and you never are going to get it. But yeah, my wife and I are in day 9 of a workout program we're doing that. She's like, yeah, we're going to do this. And they're like, you lose up to 15 pounds in 21 days. Well, I'm on day number 9 and I ain't going to hit 15 pounds at this rate. So I'm not very patient right now because I'm sweating and I'm not enjoying it. And because I want results, I think we all want those instant, quick results.
Yeah, most definitely. And I hear you on that part. I'm like, I want that pill that's going to make me lose weight just like that overnight. Done. I want that.
When it comes to these products and stuff that they sell, it's fine for the products, but you can't use that same type of thinking when it comes to your money. Because the reality is that all great things take time and patience to create. Most things don't happen overnight. You even look at the lottery winners out there. The lottery is, sold as this, instant wealth, instant make you rich, have the lifestyle that you want. But if you look at the statistics of the lottery, it is not good. Is not good at all. In fact, one of the books that I recommend in our program called Roots Personal Finance, and if you haven't read it before, it's called The Compound Effect. And Darren Hardy actually talks about this, and he says, on a typical lottery drawing, if they actually announced the losers of those drawings, it would take them 9 years to get through the list of the losers in those lottery drawings. That's how many people lose those. But even the people that win aren't necessarily winning because a lot of them don't know how to manage that money. So again, there's really no elevator to financial success. There's no shortcuts. You've got to take the stairs, and you got to be putting in the long work or the hard work with patience. So after the break, we're going to be giving you some tips that can help you start to, transform your impatience to patience. And this is going to take some time. It's going to be some hard work, but with practice and consistency and some discipline, I think you're going to find over time that these tips are really, really going to help you. Stay tuned. Hey, many people I work with want to get out of debt, and many of them are also looking for ways to rid themselves of financial stress and finally being able to get to the point where they can start saving some money. Wouldn't that be fantastic? That's why I created this free course, 10 easy money saving ideas that you can start today. Literally, you can start using these tips today. And when you join, you're going to get a free downloadable PDF guide that walks you through all the tips. Not only that, but we're also going to give you 10 video lessons that walk you through every single tip in more detail. Also, we're going to give you some action items that you can start to begin to make some changes that are going to help you save more money and fill up that piggy bank. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on tools and courses in the menu, and get free access to this course today. Hey guys, we are back, and we are talking all about how to improve patience when it comes to your finances so you can reach your goals, no matter what those might be. Now, we might sound like a broken record here, but we're going to get right back into it with this whole thing we call why power, right? And I think one of the best ways to improve your patience is to have meaning behind why you want to be or need to be patient. And I think this has, for me, been the biggest game changer along the road to financial freedom. It was why we decided to pay off the debt and the time that it took to pay off the debt. It was why we decided to take the time to build our emergency fund savings. It's why today we invest in our retirement. We invest for our kids' college savings. It's why we do some of these things, because we have this reason behind it now. When I was broke, living paycheck to paycheck, I didn't really have any goals. I didn't have any reasons to do anything. So guess what? My emotions got the best of me in pretty much every purchasing decision that I made, and I wound up being broke. So I think for a lot of people, they really need to determine what it is and why they're doing what they're doing and where they want to go. And once you do, I'm not saying that patience becomes a piece of cake, but it gets a lot easier to say no to those short-term or maybe those quick little purchases, those distractions that might throw you off your game plan.
I just kind of said it took us 8 years to get out of debt, but I would say those first couple years, especially, we were kind of move forward, move backward. And I think for us, we just didn't have a really clear why we were trying to do this. We knew we wanted to be out of debt, and it was yeah, we want to be out of debt so I can buy a truck. Or it was these very superficial goals of getting out of debt. There wasn't a lot of deep meaning to it. So it wasn't until my wife and I really sat down and started talking through what do we want our life to be like? What do we envision for our future? And we got very clear on that. That's when we really started to then make some decisions and make real progress to getting out of debt. Because otherwise I just felt we want to be out of debt, but I don't really want the truck that bad. I could wait another couple of years. So then we'd just go buy something stupid. So that was a challenge for us. And that's why it took a long time for us, is because we didn't have a solid why at first.
That's probably why it took us, 20 months to get our debt paid off, is because we have this focus on just getting this house, and we keep looking at houses and looking at houses. And, we have so many people that tell us, just get it. You don't need that large down payment. And they keep you could do it now. And I'm like, no, but I really see this bigger picture. And it's hard when everyone's just just go. You don't need the 20%. You could only do 10. That's fine. It's very hard not to just jump on it and do it.
Yeah,
because there's so much influence all around us every day.
So I think that was the big thing for me. And to be honest, when it comes to this why stuff, don't overthink this. It's got to be this huge life changing and world-changing why. Like it just needs to be yours. It could be, like Amber said, it was their house that really pushed them forward to really clean up their finances and get them to the point where they are today. For me, it was opening up my own business and being a better example to my kids. For you, it could be completely different. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's just you've got to believe in it to be able to overcome what Amber just talked about. All of those distractions and things that are going to come up that are going to cause you to lose patience and make decisions that are going to keep you from living the life that you want. So with why power obviously comes, well, if you've got some why power and you got some reasons behind what you're doing, obviously Amber just mentioned they want to buy a house. I wanted to open my own business. I wanted to be a better example to my kids. So along with that naturally comes, okay, so now that we have this kind of vision, what are some things that we can put into place, like small short-term goals and long-term goals to help us reach some of those things? So these are really going to hold you accountable in being more patient, because these are the things that you can really track. So for instance, for some people, getting yourself set up for your finances or reaching some of those goals are things like, hey, maybe you want to build a emergency fund savings. Right now, we're still actively in this whole COVID-19 thing. A lot of people have said, hey, I was not prepared for this. I'm not saying that this is going to happen again in the future, but it could be something. Well, I shouldn't say it could be. It will be something else in the future. What are you going to do to plan for that? This was a great example of why you need to be prepared. Things like vacation. How about a purchase? Ryan just mentioned, purchasing a truck. Maybe it's a home, or it could be anything. How about retirement for your kids? There's a lot of people I work with that have dreams of not necessarily paying 100% for their kids' college, but at least being able to help them and contribute to some of their education if that's what they choose to do. And then how about your life? Like we talked about, what do you really want this to look like? So answer questions about, hey, based on my age, where do I want to be in 5 years, in 10 years? And what does retirement kind of look like? And again, like Ryan said, these are some big questions. This is going to take you some time to kind of unwrap and answer as you go throughout your financial journey. But it's critical that you start establishing some of these things, because these are going to be the things that are going to help you be a lot more patient over time.
Yeah. And I would say too, as you kind of look at some of these, like retirement's a great example of, as you kind of think about your why and you want to retire, really kind of unpack what that means to you. Retirement means something different to everybody. And to some people, it's retiring to Mexico and buying a house on the ocean. And to other people, it's just living a pretty simple life, and they're completely happy doing that. So you have to understand what that retirement may look like, because that's going to set the stage for kind of your why and your purpose and the whole reason that you're doing this, and to get you to that goal. Because if it's just retirement and you get to retirement, you may retire or not retire the way you wanted to, because you didn't really have that defined what you wanted to do.
I have a lot of people who ask me, Brad, how much money do I need for retirement? Well, I don't know. It all depends on, just like what Ryan said, it all depends on what you want retirement to look like. Now, me, I want to be the man living in the van down by the river. No, that's a pretty inexpensive retirement, right? And I don't mean a van, but more of a trailer and an RV, and I want to travel the country and see stuff. And my wife and I, we really enjoy that. Now, that may change over time, but that's one of the things that we would like to have an opportunity to do. So, it really is important to take time and answer some of those questions. And I think we need to have kind of an episode on this, on why maybe these questions are kind of hard to answer, especially this retirement one, because if you're 20 or 30, it's easy just to overlook this question, because I got plenty of time. But I can't tell you how many older people I've talked to that said they've never said that they wish they started saving later for their retirement. They wish they would have started much sooner. So take their advice and get started on some of this stuff. Another tip to help you with your patience when it comes to your finances is to think addition and not subtraction. And I find this only in my personal life, but I also find it with coaching others. When people get ready to change their financial lives and they're working on some of the stuff, they're working on their budget, they're working on their behavior, a lot of people tend to focus on everything that they have to cut out and give up to get the life that they want, when rather what we should be focusing on is what we get to have because we're making those small short-term sacrifices now. So when we say that, think addition, not subtraction. Don't focus on the stuff you got to get rid of. Focus on what you get because of the hard work. When it comes to patience, focus on saying, hey, because I say no today, I get to do this tomorrow or 1 year from now or 10 years from now, whatever it might be. That's when patience really starts to work.
This is tough. I mean, this is, we really wrestled with this, going through our journey. And so this is not easy. This is going to need to be patient to develop this skill. But I think that's why when you use the big B word, the budget word, I think that's where a lot of people's minds go to is, oh, they put it all on paper and they realize everything they can't do. And I think it is a mindset switch that you really got to focus yourself on the future and not living for today.
Yeah. And when you're saying no for something, it doesn't mean never. It just means maybe not right now. Maybe you're going to get it later on once you're more financially secure. So don't think of it as no, it's never happening.
Yep. It's hard though. I've talked about all the time. We love camping, and I didn't camp for years when I was getting out of debt. I didn't have the money. I was broke. I didn't have the money for a tent. I didn't have the money for nothing,
Tent camping alone is expensive.
It is, right? I mean, camping is kind of an expensive hobby. It really is. And, there were days and times where I thought I'd never camp again. And, we would do the camping, but it would be in like my wife's sister's backyard. That would be the camping we would do. It wasn't really the most exciting thing. But again, by focusing on why we were putting all that work and why we were making those temporary sacrifices, today we camp all the time. In fact, we spend our entire almost summer in our camper and RV, and it's amazing. So again, short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. That's what you want to focus on. Also, you want to try getting in your head and getting it ingrained in your head that patience equals winning. Like, if you're feeling the pain of patience, that means that you are winning. And that's what you really need to focus on. And too many times, again, we go to that negative, like, oh, I got to wait so long. But if you're feeling that pain, it means you're growing, and it means that you're getting better at practicing patience.
Yeah, in the marketing, again, going back to one of your first points, the marketing is geared to make you impatient. So if you're feeling like the pain and it's okay, that's normal. The world wants you to feed that impatience by just solving the problem, by buying it on credit, making payments, doing all the things that can get you that fix,
This is another thing where people have doubted me in reaching debt freedom. People have doubted that I could run and open up a business like this. And at the end of the day, I just use this secret thing called patience. And I know that over time, with hard work, consistency, and discipline, you literally can make just about anything work. But everybody wants everything so fast that they give up before they even start seeing the results of that hard work. So understand that patience equals winning. And you can't win without it. It's going to take time to get to where you want to go. Also, when it comes to this whole idea of winning, I mean, winning takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. But understand that the growth that you're going to have as an individual is really in the journey. And Ryan and maybe Amber, you guys can talk about this maybe from a relationship standpoint. And I know this isn't really in the notes, but I think it's important to talk about this from a relationship because all three of us are married. But can you talk how your relationship improved from a patience level as you kind of went from, I mean, I know going back to day one when you started to where you are now? I mean, talk about how it's helped you from a relationship, from a family standpoint, and not necessarily just a money standpoint, and how this journey has really kind of changed you guys over time.
I mean, before we did this whole thing, I mean, we didn't like have, just terrible arguments about money, but it was always a topic. There wasn't a day that went by that we weren't concerned about what was in the checking account or how we're going to pay for school supplies or how we're going to pay for clothes. And it really just ruled our life. And it wasn't until we really got a hold of it, got on the same page with it, and finally ended up getting rid of our debt. But through that whole process, I mean, we've learned as a family and as a couple just an immense amount of patience through the process. And I think that's helped my kids. I mean, they grew up when we were going through all of our spending sprees. I mean, we were going to Disney all the time. We were doing all this crazy stuff. Well, then when we got on board, it was like, how come we're not doing anything anymore? It's like, so we kind of had to bring them through that process as well. So they also had to learn patience, which I think has paid big dividends for them. My oldest son is in college. he's on track to graduate debt free. We're not paying for it. He's going to have it fully funded on his own by saving and kind of we've been able to teach him what we've done. And so he's taken that and will graduate debt free with a 4-year degree. And we are helping other people, through our patience. People that we know are now learning patience for the process. So it's just something that continues to pay dividends to other people.
I mean, I think for us, we were just so tied down to our debt, and we had no choices. And the patience that we gained by going through this whole process allowed us to have more fun choices and opportunities, and just practicing those patience helped us get out of debt, but it's also helping us stay there and have more freedom and opportunities.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. You actually took the words right out of my mouth, because that's, for us as a relationship and our marriage and our family, that's been the biggest payoff, is the opportunity to make choices, different choices, no matter what they might be. Like, I may wake up one day and say, you know what, I don't really want to do this coaching stuff anymore. Would it take a little time to transition out of it and do something else? Sure. But would I have the opportunity to make that decision? Absolutely, because nothing's holding us back. So I think, yeah, patience definitely creates more opportunity and choices in the future for sure. So hopefully those tips help you guys out. And again, just keep this front of mind as you go throughout the process. Again, if you're feeling the pain of having to wait, you might find that that's what you need. That's what you need to learn how to get control of your finances, to learn how to save, to learn how to experience the joy of paying cash for something that it took you time to earn. And I think you're going to be finding that it's going to cause a lot less stress in your financial life.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right. That means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And guys, I got to tell you, man, the celebrations have been really, really good. Not only in our Life Without Payments page, but in Roots. I've been getting regular Facebook messages and emails. It's been like nonstop, even throughout this whole COVID-19 stuff. It is amazing how many people are taking charge and actually doing some of this stuff. It is really, really impressive, and it's also very motivating for all of us to see it. It's really cool. So first one up today is Christy Wright, paid off another card and a personal loan totaling $2,100, which leaves me with $230 a month to put towards other debts. That is huge. Not only reducing the amount of debt, but that cash flow every month is going to definitely help with that stress. Great job, Christy.
And Sally Ains paid $950 towards a personal debt and then added another $100 to savings. She says, yay, so excited.
Kelsey Evie paid off a 4th credit card today, and the emergency fund is up to $1,500.
That is awesome. Good job, Sally and Kelsey. Siabunga Satole, I signed up for OT a few times over the past month and used that extra money to pay off 2 outstanding debts that were in collections. Good for her. She just popped back into Roots after being gone for a little while, and she is on a tear. I mean, she is really, really, really working hard, so I'm proud of her.
Jessica Lawrence says, huge win for me. I was working a 3rd job, so to get caught up on everything. And since starting Roots, I no longer have to work that 3rd job, and I can go back to only working 2.
Yeah, that is awesome. We talk about patience, right? Look at that. Short-term sacrifice. Now she's down to 2 jobs, and hopefully she'll get to the point where she's only got 1. And what does she earn back from that? Time, which is amazing. So good for her.
And Bristol Doxy, not worrying how I'll make it to the next payday. Emergency fund is funded and still have extra money to put towards debt and savings.
Awesome. Great job, Bristol. Congratulations to all of our celebrations here today. And if you're out there working hard, congratulations to you too. If you want the latest from the show, be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And oh, by the way, if you heard that commercial about our Life Without Payments free course, you can head over and find that at therealdebtfreedad.com. Just click on tools and courses, and you'll have access to all of our free tools right there. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show.